Hey, I'm talking here now to Jen Peve of DTCC, which is a clearinghouse, and you've developed a blockchain system to manage all of this, or do you prefer to say distributed ledger?
So we use distributed ledger, and for one of our businesses, which holds all credit derivative transactions for the industry, we have just completed the development of replatforming it from mainframe to cloud and distributed ledger technology.
Awesome. And for our viewers who probably aren't familiar with the work you do, could you please just explain how you work in the traditional financial system?
Sure. So we have two aspects of our business. The first is we process and clear securities transactions, equities, U.S. equities, fixed income, stock borrow loans, et cetera. The second part of our business is more derivatives focused, where we have global trade repositories, the trade information warehouse, which stores and records all credit derivative transactions for the industry, and our institutional trade processing business for clients who want to confirm and process transactions in equities, fixed income, and other assets.
Right. And how long have you been around? I know you're a very big name, but this is just for background.
So over 40 years. So for about the last 40 years, DTCC has actually been using technology to help enhance and reduce risk for the industry and deliver value for our clients.
So at what point did someone say, all right, we need to move into the DLT or blockchain space?
So back in 2016, we worked on a proof of concept with a provider called Axani, and the industry was really excited about the results from this proof of concept. And they asked us, we were looking at our trade information warehouse business, and we were considering replatforming it onto another technology. And our members came to us and just asked if we would work with them on a use case and a business case to move to distributed ledger. And so we worked very closely with the industry. We had an RFP process to look at distributed ledger technology providers, which back in 2016 was very interesting because they weren't very mature at all. And then we created a target vision and operating model, and we got approval to move forward.
How mature would you say the industry is now?
Wow, it's amazing to see the difference in the technology. Look, we've learned a lot when you operationalize a technology, particularly one that's so nascent as this one. We've learned so much in the last year and a half just doing the development work, thinking about things that, how much goes on chain, how much goes off chain, how participants are going to adopt nodes on the network, what that means for them and their CISO organizations, how different things like processing language can impact, your decisions for your CISO organizations, and ultimately then thinking about some of the technology challenges that are still out there, like performance, scalability, ensuring that these platforms are robust from a data privacy perspective, resiliency, redundancy, et cetera.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit more about how actually you're handling all of that. I want to ask you about the technology that's behind this. You said it was based on an Ethereum platform, but you've since developed your own thing.
So our technology provider, Axani, has developed their own proprietary technology off of an original Ethereum-based platform. And so they have created an entire Axani platform and the tools around it to manage the network and operate the network.
Right, and how many nodes do you have, and how is that securing the network now?
So interestingly enough, the way that we have chosen to roll this out initially, DTCC will have its own node plus nodes for our customers, but we are hosting those without pushing them out to the customers on day one. The intent was to reduce the amount of integration work on day one while we proved out the fact that the technology was robust, secure, et cetera, and worked. And then phase two will include the customers actually taking on the nodes themselves. So a lot more to come on that front. We're really excited about this first phase. And as part of rolling out the nodes to our customers, we've also spent quite a bit of time on looking at governance and what it means to govern a network on behalf of the industry. Our business model is changing as a result of this implementation and how we run this business, and providing that governance and operating the network is a critical function that the industry as well as the regulators have asked that we perform.
Okay, and do you see a future where you and all of your competitors are actually using distributed ledgers?
I think in good 10 to 20 years, who knows, right? But the technology has a lot of promise, and particularly for the capital markets industry. I think one of the most compelling use cases is leveraging this data synchronization that's available on the technology platform to help them reduce the duplication that they have within their own organizations in recording transactions. And that's a tremendous value to the industry. I think the industry first needs to develop trust in the underlying technology, and to that end, DTCC just completed a benchmarking study to help demonstrate the performance and scalability of certain commercial platforms, and using our U.S. equities clearing and settlement data. I think that was one really big step forward for the industry, but we still need to continue to prove out the other technology challenges that I mentioned earlier. That will just help everyone build that trust, because today we have systems that are robust, they're secure, they may not be the best, but they work. And so it's difficult to get adoption of something that's very new without building that trust in the underlying technology first.
That's right. And I think building trust is a key point. And also another one is scalability. We hear it all the time. From what you've seen so far, do you think that your system is scalable to your needs in the future?
Yeah, so this benchmarking study that we just completed was an eye-opener. We brought in two commercial distributed ledger platforms, Digital Asset and R3 Corda Enterprise, and we created a benchmarking target based on DTCC's average daily volume that we clear on a single day. And we picked an arbitrary day where we cleared 115 million trades during the day. And we backed into a per second number, which was 6,300 trades per second. And we required that these platforms process 6,300 trades per second for a continuous 5 hours, and that amassed a total of 115 million trades for the day. And both platforms met the benchmark target, and we also believe that there was still more room to grow, right? But we stopped at our benchmark target. I think the results were very exciting. Couple things to note, though. We performed just a few functionality, so like netting and settlement. So functionality was considered part of it. We created a node network of 170 plus nodes, which was also part of just measuring scalability. But ultimately, to continue to just prove out this technology, additional functionality needs to be added to the network to ensure that we're getting that consistent performance and scale that we need on a daily basis. But it was one really big step forward for the industry.
Cool. And what's the next step towards making this live?
So I think we need to continue to prove out some of these aspects, do some continual research and development projects, do things like looking at resiliency and redundancy next, making sure that there's no data leakage for data privacy aspects of the technology for use. And then I think, we're going to start to see more smaller use cases just start to come to market. The Trade Information Warehouse project that we have just finished development, and in a couple weeks we'll be announcing next steps in terms of how that's going to move forward. And these iterative projects are going to be very important for the industry to help them see the value and continue to achieve that value on an iterative basis while we get to that longer term vision you mentioned.
Yeah, right. And are you planning to actually sell this to other businesses once you're done, or are you going to keep it all in-house?
So DTCC, it serves the industry. So we're an industry-governed utility. So our clients come to us for products and services. So we will offer this to our clients, equally, right? And so those clients who are clients of the Trade Information Warehouse have the same ability to leverage the new platform that they had before we moved to distributed ledger.
Cool. And can you tell people where they can find out more?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you go to our website, www.dtcc.com, great place to look and see what we're doing and how we're actually helping to change the landscape, looking at newer technologies.
Great. Okay, Jen, Peve, thank you very much for talking to us today.
Thank you very much.